If you've been craving a little more calm and clarity in your week, you're in the right place. Catching Sunshine is where we talk about real life ways to protect your peace and live with more lightness and purpose. And today we're talking about something that sounds spooky, but it isn't: energy vampires. We'll look at how to spot them, how to protect yourself around them, and even how to make sure you're not accidentally acting like one yourself. Hey, my friend, welcome in, welcome in. Okay, as I'm recording this, it's almost Halloween, and I thought, what better time to talk about something we've probably all experienced: energy vampires. Not the cape-wearing, fang-having vampires from the movies, but real people who somehow leave you feeling completely drained after you spend time with them. Someone may have come to mind when I said that. Maybe it's that coworker who always complains but never wants solutions, or the person at the grocery store who somehow turns a quick chat into their entire life story. Maybe you have that friend who calls whenever they need something but never seems to have time when you need support. Well, here's the good news. Once you know how to spot energy vampires, you can absolutely protect your beautiful energy while still being the kind, caring person you are. Ready to dive in? Let's start with what energy vampires actually look like in real life. And I want to say this with so much love. I don't think anyone's naturally evil or trying to hurt anyone or be a burden on anyone. They're usually just dealing with their own stuff and don't realize the effect they're having. And I do want to acknowledge that calling someone an energy vampire can sound judgmental. So I'm just using this term to help explain what we're talking about today and to help us understand these patterns. And if we're honest, most of us have probably been that person at one point when we were hurting or overwhelmed or afraid. So, it's easy to point fingers and say, oh, that person just drains me. But I think we're all doing the best we can with what we know. But here's what I've noticed. Energy vampires have some pretty common patterns that you can learn to recognize. First, there's the crisis magnet. This person always seems to be in some kind of drama or emergency. Now, we all go through tough times, but with an energy vampire, it's like they're always in crisis mode. They call you when things are falling apart, but somehow when your life gets challenging, they're nowhere to be found. And then there's the all about me vampire. You know this one. Conversations somehow always circle back to them. You might start talking about your weekend, but within minutes they're telling you about their weekend, their problems, their opinions. They're not necessarily mean. They just seem to forget that conversations are supposed to go both ways. There's also the negative Nancy vampire. Everything is wrong. Everything is horrible. The world is falling apart. They find problems with every solution you offer. And while we all need to vent sometimes, this type of person seems to prefer complaining to actually changing anything. And have you ever known a boundary bulldozer? This person just doesn't seem to understand the word no. They'll keep pushing when you've said you're busy. They'll call at inappropriate times. They might have expectations about what you should do for them. And when you stick to your healthy boundaries, they get offended or act hurt. They might even try to make you feel guilty for having limits, like you're being selfish or mean to them. And finally, the energy siphon. This is someone who seems to be trying literally to pull your energy and grab some light from you. I especially notice this when I'm speaking somewhere and people come up to chat afterward. Sometimes there's someone in line who I can just feel is trying to siphon some of my energy because I'll suddenly feel really tired. And in my head, never out loud, but just in my head, non-verbally, I say to them, get your light from the source, the same place I get mine. And I can tell when they get that energetic message because that heavy tiredness leaves me. If you ever sense that with someone, just know they're not trying to take from you out of malice. They're drawn to your light because they are trying to feel better. So you just non-verbally say that to them in your mind with intention. Get your light from the source. And I use the word source in that situation only because it seems to cover all the bases. Sometimes I'm not sure people's belief systems who I'm sending that quiet, unspoken message to. Now, as I talked about those 5 types, crisis magnet, all about me, negative Nancy, boundary bulldozer, and energy siphon, and there may be more. Those are just some examples I thought of. But if you're thinking, oh no, do I do any of those things? Well, like I said before, maybe we all have a little bit at some time, but the fact that you're asking that question probably means you're not an energy vampire because you have that self-awareness. The key is recognizing these patterns, so if you have any vampire-ish people in your orbit, you can protect your energy while still being kind. Now that you know how to spot energy vampires, let's talk about the fun part, protecting your energy. And I say fun because once you have these tools, you get to feel so much more confident and peaceful in your interactions. Here's the thing I want you to remember. You can protect your energy and still be a warm-hearted person. You don't have to choose between being gracious and taking care of yourself. Let me share my favorite energy protection technique. It's so super simple. It's just a bubble of light. Before you interact with someone who tends to drain your energy, take a few seconds to imagine yourself surrounded by a beautiful, colorful bubble of light. This light is warm and protective, and it only lets in positive energy while keeping any negative from sticking to you. I know it might sound a little woo-woo, but I promise it works. Another great tool is energy time limits. This is where you decide ahead of time how long you'll spend with certain people or at certain places. Maybe give yourself 10 minutes on the phone with your complaining coworker, or 30 minutes at a gathering with your drama-loving aunt. Having a plan helps you stay in control of your energy. Like Jim Carrey's Grinch Who Stole Christmas. I'll swing by for a minute, allow them to envy me, grab a handful of popcorn shrimp, and blow out of there. Sometimes you just need to plan ahead to do that. And then there's the redirect and deflect technique. So when someone starts dumping negativity, you can gently redirect. That sounds really challenging. Have you thought about talking to someone who could help you with that? Or deflect and try to bring in some light. I hope that works out for you. Hey, did I tell you about this funny thing that happened to me? So it's not that you're dismissing what they're saying, but if they're giving you the same story that you've heard over and over, you're trying to lift them up and pull them out of their story a little bit into something more positive. And here's one of my favorites, the energy reset. Again, super simple. After you've been around someone who you feel like it drained your energy a bit, take a moment to reset. Just take 3 deep breaths and visualize yourself filling back up with light and positivity. The thing that's so valuable about these little techniques is that they help you stay compassionate without getting drained. You can still care about people without absorbing any victim energy. Sometimes energy vampires are going through a tough time and they'll get back to their normal balanced selves. But sometimes this is just how they are, and that's okay too. You just get to decide how much of your energy you want to share. The more you protect and maintain your own energy, the more you'll have to share with the people who really matter to you. And here's a good place for me to remind us all that what you think about, you bring about. So if we are seeing through the filter, our own filter of, wow, this person really drains me. Oh, they're such an energy vampire. It's always great to take a look at our own thoughts too, because our thoughts can create more of that than there really is. What if we changed our own thoughts? What if we reframed that in our own mind? And what happens is that person doesn't seem quite so draining anymore when we tell ourselves a different version of that. Or, wow, they're just going through a rough patch. I can have compassion for that. So that's really important to keep in mind too. And with that, I need to go here for a minute. Sometimes when we're stressed, overwhelmed, or going through a tough time, we might accidentally become energy vampires ourselves. Oh yes, because we all go through tough times and we all react differently when we do. So here are some signs to gently watch for in yourself. Are you finding yourself only calling friends when you have problems? Only having time to talk to them when you have something to complain about or get off your chest? Are you dominating conversations with your stress or drama? Can you go a day or two without telling someone your sad story? When someone shares good news with you, do you immediately redirect the conversation to your own challenges? Are you asking for the same advice over and over but not actually taking any action? Are you feeling resentful when people aren't available to help you exactly when you need them? Wow, that was a lot of questions, wasn't it? Maybe you've noticed that you're complaining a lot lately, or you're so focused on your problems that you forget to ask others how they're doing. Or maybe you're feeling like everyone should drop everything to help you because you're going through a hard time. Listen, this does not make you a bad person. When we're hurting or overwhelmed, it's natural to need extra support. The key is just being aware of these patterns so we can gently shift them. And that may not even be you at all. You may not even connect to what I just said, but maybe there's a few listeners who needed that gentle reminder. Either way, the great thing is, once you notice these behaviors, you can make some loving adjustments. Maybe that means taking a pause before you call someone or vent and asking yourself, am I looking for support or am I just dumping? Or making sure to ask, how are you? And really listening to the answer. Or practicing gratitude for something good in your life before you share what's challenging you. We all need support. Sometimes it's about balance and awareness. And honestly, your friends will appreciate that you're mindful about not always being the person who shows up with complaints. All right, my fabulous sunshine catcher, we've talked about how to spot energy vampires, how to protect yourself from them, and how to make sure you're not accidentally being one yourself. Here's a little activity for you this week. I think you'll love it. Practice the bubble of light technique every day. Could you do that every day? In the morning when you get up, it literally takes a few seconds to visualize a bubble of light around you. You can make it whatever color or colors or sparkles that you want to, or not. Whether you're about to go into a meeting or make a phone call you're dreading, or even just walk into a crowded grocery store, take a moment to imagine that flowing protective light around you. Pay attention to how different you feel when you use the bubble of light versus going bubbleless. I think you're going to love the sense of calm it brings. If you're realizing there are people in your life who drain your energy, or if you've been feeling off balance yourself, this kind of work is exactly what I help people with in private sessions. You can learn more or book a session with me through the link in the show notes. Oh, and if you think of a few friends who could use this episode, please share it with them. We all know people who could use some energy vampire protection tips, right? Thanks so much for sharing this time with me today. See you next week.